In the previous class, we discussed about different topics in CNC such as CNC interfacing and different interfacing devices, what is the role played by an interface, CNC diagnosis, CNC monitoring, part programming, and what are the qualities of a good part programmer and what are the things which the part programmer has to consider while preparing a part program and so on. Today in this class we are going to cover the salient points as shown in the slide. They are part programming, dimensioning, access and motion nomenclature, structure of part program, word address format and other related formats, interpolation and its parameters. In addition to that, several functions which are specified in part programming. Now, at first we have to know what are the different ways of part programming. In the olden days, we are having only one technique, that is an NC or CNC. Nowadays, with the invention or introduction of new technology, there are several CNC systems. Basing on the CNC system which we are adapting to the CNC machine, there may be different programming formats or there may be different programs. The first and the foremost one is manual 2D programming, 2D and 3D complex programming using CAM packages like CATIA, IDEAS, MasterCam, Unigraphics, ProEngineer, etc. Then what do you mean by a program nomenclature? Here FNAC, a 4-digit program number following address is used. Actually it is preceding with a letter O. Here O0012 like O9999. Similarly in numeric, program number up to 4 digits following a percentage or MPF is allowed. In FIDIA, the program is named like a PC file, that is course.cnc. Here in our first slides, ways of programming. What is the basic difference between manual 2D programming and the present day programming? Here, in case of olden days or in 2D programming, it is the responsibility of the programmer to know every aspect regarding the machine and the CNC system. Basing on that, he has to develop the part program by remembering the different functions which are involved in CNC programming. But in today, by using the advanced packages like IDEAS or CATIA, some interface is there. Whenever the user develop the finished product which you want to have and the shape of the raw material, that means the user is going to specify two things. One is the shape of the raw material and the other is the shape of the finished product he want to have. Then automatically these software packages will develop the required part program, and this part program is given to the CNC system to get the finished product. So that sort of advantage is there in the today's programming through the software packages like CATIA or IDEAS and so on. Now, what is a program and what are the different elements and what are the different functions in a part programming one is going to develop, that is by means of a software or by means of a manually is. Now we will go to the slide. Here elements of a part program. The program consists of a block which contains one or more functions and the value of the function. Then what are the different functions which are used in part programming? The first and the foremost one is a block number. It is denoted with N. Preparatory functions G. Miscellaneous functions M. Axis movement functions X, Y, Z and B. Fixed cycles. These fixed cycles are also called as canned cycles, denoted with G. Other functions like F, T, D, P. End of block, it is denoted with EOB. Here the next topic is, what do we mean by dimensioning? As we know, as a mechanical engineers, at first our responsibility is to prepare the drawing which is required to manufacture a component or to give a finished shape to the material we are supplying. Whenever you are developing a drawing, generally the drawing may have two types of dimensioning compatible to the machining. It may be an absolute one or it may be an incremental one. What is the basic difference between absolute and incremental? Most commonly we will call this incremental as a relative dimensioning or a relative coordinates. In case of absolute dimensioning, we will take a fixed point, we will call that point as an origin. Every dimension will be referred with respect to that point, we simply call it as an absolute programming or absolute dimensioning. In case of a relative programming, the specification of any point or the coordinates of a point purely depends on the previous point. Now let us go to the slide. Here let us take, this is a slide which is represented with an absolute dimensioning. Here this is our reference point, we may simply call it as an absolute point or an origin for absolute dimensioning. If you take any point on the diagram, it is referred with this origin. That means the center of the hole is at a distance of 1 unit or in x axis and 1 unit in y axis. Whenever you take the hole 2, it is at a distance of 2 units in x axis and 2 units in y axis. So the centers of all these 3 holes are denoted with respect to the origin of the drawing. We are simply calling this as an absolute dimensioning or absolute coordinate system. Then what sort of advantage is there with the type of system? This method has an advantage, that is, if a hole 2 is put in wrong location, hole 3 would not be affected. That means, in case of an absolute dimensioning system, we are taking a fixed point. We are not depending on the previous position of the cutter. So by any reason, if the worker commits any error while making the second hole, whenever he give the correct coordinate positions with respect to the origin, the position of the hole 3 never be affected. That is the advantage with an absolute dimensioning. Then what are the other advantages with absolute dimensioning? Let us go to the next slide. Absolute dimensioning is a commonly used method of dimensioning. It is used widely in CNC part programs. Dimensions are taken from a single point, that is a datum point or an origin. Preparatory function code used for absolute dimensioning is G90. Let us consider the next figure. It is an incremental positioning. Here whenever you observe any coordinate position, this coordinate position is referenced with respect to the previous location. Let us consider this as an origin or a datum. The whole one is at a distance of 1 unit in the x direction and in the y direction. Whenever you take the center of the hole 2, which is at a distance of 1 from the center of the hole 1, 0.5 from the center of the hole 2. So this is the basic difference between absolute dimensioning and relative dimensioning. That is, in case of absolute dimensioning, there will be a fixed point, we may call it as a datum or an origin. Coordinate of any point in the drawing is referred with respect to that datum. But in case of incremental positioning or relative dimensioning, the point in the drawing will be referred with the previous point. So that is the basic difference in relative and absolute dimensioning or positioning. Next is, what are the advantages are when you are going to prefer this relative dimensioning system or incremental positioning system. Whenever the component which you are manufacturing is highly complex, having contours and recesses, then we will go for incremental positioning. Now we will go to the next slide. Incremental positioning, in this the measurement is taken from hole to hole. Measurement is based on previous cutter location. It is advantageous for machining complicated pockets or recesses. The preparatory code or G code for this positioning system is G91. Next is axis and motion nomenclature. Methodology of axis representation is right-handed Cartesian coordinate system. As we know, whenever you take any point in the space which is having 6 degrees of freedom or 12 degrees of motion, the motion will be in both the linear axis, that is x, y and z. Automatically it will be plus x, plus y, plus z and minus z. Very similarly, 3 rotary axis, that is rotation along x, it may be clockwise and anti-clockwise, similarly for y and similarly for z. How we are going to denote this sort of motions in our part programming? So, these are things we are going to discuss. Now, we will move to the next slide. Here, at first we will discuss about the z axis. Z axis motion is always the axis of the main spindle. The spindle may carry the workpiece or cutting tool. If you take any machine, z axis is the axis which is going to present in the machine. Out of the 3 axes x, y, z, all the machines contains x and z axis. Y axis may or may not be present. Let us take a drilling or a milling machine. All the 3 coordinate axes x, y and z will present. But in case of a lathe machine, only x and z will present, no y axis will be there. At the same time, then which axis becomes a z axis? Always the axis of the spindle becomes a z axis. The spindle may carry a workpiece or it may carry a cutting tool. Generally, a lathe machine spindle carries a workpiece under conventional process, or in case of a drilling or a milling, the spindle contains a cutting tool. Whether it carries a cutting tool or workpiece, the axis of the spindle is nothing but a z axis. Whenever you consider or whenever you decide the z axis, so which one is a positive z and which one is a negative z? Positive z always increases the distance between the cutting tool and the workpiece. Because of the motion taking place in the z axis, if the distance between the workpiece and the cutting tool is increasing, then automatically that motion is plus z. Now we will go to the next slide, which denotes the different figures. Let us consider this drilling machine. Here plus z. Here we know that in case of a drilling machine, only drill bit will traverse. If the drill bit is traversing in the plus z direction, then automatically the distance between the workpiece and the drill bit will increase. So, zx plus z denotes the movement of the cutter away from the workpiece in any machine. Similarly, minus z denotes the movement of the cutter or movement of the cutting tool towards the job. So, from this we can tell one thing, that is z axis will decide in what direction the motion is existing between the workpiece and the cutting tool. If it is a plus z, the distance between the workpiece and cutting tool will increase. If it is a minus z, it will decrease. Next is a milling machine. In a milling machine, we know that the table is having a motion in the z axis. If it is a plus z, it always moves away from the cutter. If it is a minus z, it moves towards the cutter. Similarly, for a lathe machine, z axis is along the axis of the spindle, perpendicular to that is an x axis. So, whenever you traverse the cross slide along the z axis, plus z denotes the movement of the cross slide away from the spindle or away from the chuck which is residing on the spindle. And similarly, x axis which is perpendicular to z. Now we will go to the next axis, it is an x axis. whatever may be the machine, x axis is horizontal. It may be a lathe machine or it may be a drilling or milling, x axis is always horizontal. Next is a y axis. Let us go to the slide here. In case of an x axis is always horizontal, plus x will carry the table towards the left, minus x carries the table towards the right. Next is y axis. It is always right angles to both x and y axis. Next is rotary axis. Till now we dealt with x, y and z axis. Z axis having plus z and minus z. Plus z always increases the distance between the workpiece and the cutter. Minus z always reduces the distance between the cutter and the workpiece. X axis is horizontal, y is perpendicular to both x and z, but all the machines will have x and z, and typically a turning machine like a lathe machine may not have the y axis, it will have only x and z axis. Now we will go to the rotary axis. We know that we are having 6 degrees of motion in rotation, that is rotation along x, y and z. This rotation on each axis may be clockwise or anti-clockwise. Clockwise rotation is designated as positive and counterclockwise rotation is designated as negative moment. Let us consider the coordinate axis or axis and motion nomenclature. Here this is x, y and z and the respective motions. Here the motions are denoted in clockwise direction, they may be anti-clockwise directions, there may be clockwise direction. Next is structure of a part program. Till now we dealt with the part programming. Whenever you want to perform the required operations on the machine by a CNC system, it is the responsibility of the programmer to develop and feed the program to the machine. We are simply calling that program as a part program. Then what is there in the part program, or what are the different things which are there in the part program? Now let us go to the slide which denotes the structure of a part program. Part program denoted by percentage, which indicates start of tape. Basic input to control unit in part program is block. Block is a combination of words and characters. Block contains adequate information for the machine to perform a movement or functions. Next is information of the block. Whenever you consider the part programming, we know that which contains number of steps. The basic unit is a block. A block contains different functions and the various functions as optional block skip, block or sequence number, preparatory functions, dimensional information, decimal point. Whenever you take any part program which contains the number of blocks, every block is having a number called as a block number, and every block is composed of different functions such as a preparatory function, a miscellaneous function and different other parameters like S, T, D, P words and end of block. Here at the sometimes we may write a part program. There is no need to execute all the blocks of the program to produce a component. Let us take a component which needs 5 operations and we executed that program and produced a component. The next product needs only the 4 operations, then it is possible for you to execute the same part program which contains 5 blocks, but whatever the block which you want to skip, you can skip it by using optional block skip. Now we will go to the next one. The another function is a feed rate, we will call it as a feed word, which denotes F. Spindle speed, which is denoted by S. Tool number, denoted by T. Tool offset function, denoted by D. Miscellaneous functions, denoted by M and H. Next is end of block, denoted with EOB. Here what the different things are doing? Let us take the feed rate. We know that for all operations the feed rate may not be same. We may vary the feed rate basing on the operation. For example, let us take the plane turning. If the rough stock, we may go for more feed, while in a finished stock we may go for less feed, basing on the requirement. For example, if more amount of effort is required, generally we will go for less feed. If less amount of effort is required, we will go for more feed. That purely depends on the required cutting parameters or surface finish you want to have. So how much amount of feed we want to have, you are going to represent along with feed word, that is F. Next is a speed. Whenever you want to specify the speed, especially in case of a CNC, we may specify the speed in two types. One is, we may specify the spindle RPM. So at what revolutions the machine has to make for 1 minute for a given operation, or at what constant cutting speed the machine has to maintain. So the speed, yes, may be the spindle RPM or the constant cutting speed with which it has to cut. Next is T word, that is nothing but a tool number. Whenever you are using a turret along with the CNC, a turret may have number of tools, different operations may be performed with different tools, which operation is to be performed with which tool. These things will be denoted by a tool number. Next is a tool offset word. Tool offset word is denoted with D. In the last class we dealt with the compensation. Some sort of compensation is to be provided for diameter or for the length. These compensations are specified along with D word. Next is miscellaneous functions M and H. Next is end of block. Whenever you denote EOB, it is an end of block. That means that the execution of that particular block is over. Now we will go to the next slide. Here what the different things a block programming contains. The first and the fourth one is address of block number, preparatory function, transient information, spindle speed function, miscellaneous function, feed function, tool function, compensation function, end block. Block number, which denotes with N, preparatory function denoted with G, spindle speed function denoted with S, miscellaneous function denoted with M, feed function denoted with F, tool function denoted with T, compensation function denoted with T, transient functions generally denoted with H, end of block denoted with EOB. So here automatically the first one denotes the block number, second one is a preparatory function, third one is a transient information, fourth one is a spindle speed, next is a miscellaneous function, next is a feed function, tool function, compensation function and end of block. Like this we have to write the part programming, or a block of a part program may contain these many number of functions. Now we will go to the preparatory function. These codes prepare the machine to perform a particular function like positioning, contouring, thread cutting and canned cutting. So then for what type of functions or for what type of works we are going to use the preparatory function G? The first one is positioning. Whenever you consider a cutting tool, from the relative position it has to move to the required position. how you want to move the cutting tool from the present position to the required position in your part programming, that is denoted by a G code for positioning. Next is for contouring. We know that the contours are of two types. It may be a convex contour or it may be a concave contour. Basing on the contouring, we are going to use the G functions. Next is a thread cutting. Next is a canned cutting. Here we are using the word canned cutting. Generally they are canned cycles. Next is, what are different G codes used in part programming? G00 rapid traverse, G01 linear interpolation, G02 circular interpolation clockwise, G03 circular interpolation counterclockwise, G04 dwell time under address F or X in seconds, G10 polar coordinate programming with rapid traverse. At first here we will discuss about these G codes. First one is a G00 rapid traverse. Whenever you want to position the cutting tool from its original position to the position you want to have, it is nothing but a non-cutting period. During this period, cutting tool has to traverse at the high speed. So for that we will go for rapid traverse. Very similarly, during cutting, the cutting tool has to move at a low speeds. Generally we will call it as a linear traverse. Circular interpolation denoted with G02 and G03. Whenever you want to have a convex or concave curves, then we will go for G02 or G03 preparatory functions. G02 is for clockwise clockwise contours, G03 is for anti-clockwise contours. Very similarly, G04. In certain operations, once the cutting tool traverses to a particular position by rapid traverse or by means of a linear traverse, it has to stay there for some time. You are going to denote that time with X. But actually during that period, cutting tool does not perform any cutting operation. Next is a G10, a polar coordinate programming. Next is a G11, polar coordinate programming, linear interpolation. G17, plane selection XY plane. G18, XZ plane. G19, YZ plane. G40, cancel cutter radius compensation. G41, cutter radius compensation left. G42, cutter radius compensation right. G53, suppress the zero offset. G54, select the zero offset. Here, if you observe the preparatory codes like G17, G18 and G19, they are used in drilling and in milling machines. In a milling machine we are having three planes XY, YZ, XZ and YZ. On which plane the cutting tool has to move is denoted with these three preparatory functions G17, 18 and 19. And at the same time, you know, some cutter compensation is to be provided or cutter offset is to be provided. If you want to invoke the cutter compensation or you want to cancel the cutter compensation, for that we are going to use G40, G41 and G42. Next is G55 to 54 to 57 are for offsets. G59, programmable additive zero offset. G60, exact stop. G62, continuous path mode, fine tolerance. G64, continuous path mode, coarse tolerance. G70, input system in metric. G80, no boring cycle. G81, 81 drilling, centering, boring cycle, 82 drilling and countersunking, 83 deep hole drilling and boring cycle, 84 tapping cycle, 85, 86, 87, 88 and 89 boring cycles, G90 for absolute dimension programming, G91 incremental dimension programming, G92 limitation of spindle speed S when using with G96, G94 feed rate under address F mm per minute, G95 feed rate under address F mm per revolution, G96 constant cutting speed. Here actually from G84 to G89 are canned cycles. They are pre-programmed cycles in CNC part programming. G90 and G91 are for dimensioning. Whenever you are specifying the coordinates of finished product with respect to fixed point, we will go for absolute positioning. It is denoted with G90. If you want to execute, the instructions are, if you developed your part program with respect to a relative positions or incremental positioning, then we will go for G91. Next is G92, it is a limitation of spindle speed whenever you are specifying the feed rate. If feed is specified in meters per minute, it is a constant cutting speed, then we have to specify G92. Next is G94 and G95. G94 and G95 specifies the feed. G94 is in a cutting speed in mm per minute, G95 with mm for revolution. Next is optional block skip character. What is the role played by an optional block skip character? We already discussed it just now. Whenever you are developing a part program which contains 5 blocks and you are producing a product, another simple product needs to perform 4 blocks of this part program. Whatever the block you want to skip in execution, you can use optional block skip character. It is denoted with a slash. So the operator can omit certain operations in a program for a particular component. Such blocks are programmed with the character slash as the first character. Let us go to the slide. Functioning of a block skip. Original program, execution of the program when the switch is not actuated, execution of the program when the switch is actuated. Here whenever you observe these blocks, block number 1 and block number 4 are having optional skip slash. So these blocks will never be executed by a CNC system. So whenever you execute this block, nothing you are going to get. In the next block you will get some motion. The third block slash is there, so no operation will be performed. In the fourth block no slash is there, that means the system will execute this block and you are going to get some output. Next is block or sequence number. We know that the first part of any block is nothing but a sequence number. We are calling that as a block number. Whatever may be the number of blocks in a part program, every block must have a number. Sometimes there may be a number of part program statements and all these statements are interrelated. In this case, all these statements may have a same block number. That means a statement may have a block number or group of statements may have a single block number. The group of statements may have a single block number if all these statements are interrelated statements. Here block or sequence number, here N000, here actually 4 blocks are there. All these 4 statements comes under a single block. That's why we are denoting with a single block number. Here N005 is a block number which contains two statements. Next is a spindle speed. As we know, spindle speed is denoted with S word. The spindle speed may be in RPM or a constant cutting speed in meter per minute. Next is a feed rate word. The feed rate or the rate at which the cutter travels through the material, it is specified in mm per minute or mm per second. Next is a tool number. It tells out a particular tool that has to be used for cutting. Normally it is useful whenever an automatic tool changer is attached to machining centers. Next is a D word. This word activates cutter radius and length compensation. In actual part programming, D word plays a major role. One has to be very cautious while providing the offsets along with the D word in part programming blocks. Why? Because we generally develop the part programming by considering the center of the cutter. Whenever you want to perform a planing operation, we have to consider the center of the cutter. So, center line of the cutter never pass over the component. So, let us take this as a job and we are performing a plane cutting. So, here you want to machine the end face. Here we are programming with the center of the cutter. So, 50% of the diameter of the cutter will lie on the job. So, it never be tangent to the surface. Whenever you want to consider this particular problem, we have to provide the offset. So, this offset denotes the diameter of the cutter. Very similarly, some compensations will be provided for length also. Here we are developing certain amount of programs by keeping length of the cutter. Sometimes or while using the machine to produce a product, the same cutter may not be available or the length of the cutter may be less. Instead of changing the total part program, we may provide some compensation for length and we are going to specify along with D word. Next is a programming formats. You know, till now we dealt with the part programming and that it contains the number of blocks, and these part programmings are of having three types of formats. One is a fixed block format, tab sequential format, word address format. First one is a fixed block format. In a fixed block format, the various things are block number, X, Y, F and S. The values are block number is 001, X value is 15.00, Y is 20.00, feed is 200, S is 500 and EOB denotes end of block. Next, block number 002, X is 75, Y is 20, F is 200, S is 500 and EOB. Then what is the problem with fixed block format? Whenever you observe the fixed block format, even though the values are same, they are to be repeated. That means the structure of the block must be fixed. That means every statement must have the values for all these parameters, which creates some redundancy in developing the part program. Next is tab sequential format. In a tab sequential format, block number, a tab, value for X, tab, value for Y, tab and so on. In the second block, block number 2, tab, X value is changed, so the value we are specifying, but there is no change for Y, F and S, no need to specify. So, whenever you consider these two things, that is a fixed position format or fixed block format and tab sequential format, in a fixed block format, even though values for certain parameters are same, in the consecutive steps we have to specify, but in case of a tab sequential format, the different words in a block are separated by means of a tab, and if the same words are to be repeated in the next statement, no need to specify. The next is word address format. Word address format is the most commonly used advanced part programming methodology adopted today. Here you are going to specify the word and the value for it. In certain programs, some of the words may be missed, or there is no need to specify the word. Here also you can skip it. For example, in the next block, in the first block N001, you are having a value for x, y, f, s and uob. Here you are specifying the word and its value. X is a word, 15 is a value, y is a word, 20 is a value. But here in the second one, N002 is a block, the x's value is changed, that is why we are specifying uob, that is nothing but end of block. No doubt this word address format is having advantage when compared to fixed block and a tab address format. In case of a tab address, there must be a tab gap between the word to word, but here there is no such type of distinction. Here you are going to specify the character, along with you are going to specify the value for it. Next is absolute programming. How you are going to specify the various things in absolute programming. One is N5 is the block number, G71 denotes the metric, G90 under block number 10 denotes absolute, block number 15 preparatory function G00, that means it is a rapid traverse, x100, y100, that is displacement in the direction of x and y is 100 and 100, that is it traverses inclinely, N20 x y, N25 x 200, y 175, N30 x 250 and y 150. That means here the cutting tool will traverse from one point to other point at a rapid traverse. Now let us consider this now. Different points are there, point 1, point 2, point 3 and point 4. x100, y100, from the origin cutting tool directly traverses to the center at a faster rate. Next is x150 and y175 directly traverse to the center of this hole and this hole and this hole, that is from one point to other point cutting tool traverses at a rapid traverse with absolute programming. Next, how you are going to specify in incremental programming. N5 G90, X100, Y100, G90, N10 G91, N51, N15 G91 means an incremental programming, N15 G00, X20, Y40, block number 20 X50, Y60, that means the displacement in the direction of x is 50 units and y is 60 units, not with respect to the datum, with respect to the previous point, that is x20, y40. In the next block N25, displacement in x is 100, but displacement in y is 80, not with respect to the datum, it is with respect to x50, y60, that is 0.2. Now incremental programming, here this is a datum, this is a 0.1, the 0.1 is at a distance of 20 units in the x direction and 40 units in the y direction. Then what is the coordinate displacement for 0.2? This 0.2 is at a distance of 50 units from 0.1 in the x direction, 60 units in the y direction. So 0.2 incremental positioning is x50 and y60. Very similarly, you are going to specify the coordinates for 0.3 with respect to 0.2. 0.3 is at a distance of 100 units in the x direction and 80 units in the y direction. So this is about an incremental programming. Now we will go to the miscellaneous functions, we will call them as M codes. The different M codes are M00, it is unconditional program stop, M01 conditional program stop, M03 end of program with return, M04 spindle rotation clockwise, M05 spindle stop, M08 coolant on. Till now we discussed about the different aspects we have to consider or different functions in part programming, and what is the basic elements of part programming, and what are different preparatory functions, and what are different words which are used in part program. So in our next class we will continue this lesson, that is regarding the other functions available in part programming.